So I think the most hotly debated topic in the essential oil community is whether or not to use oils internally. So I wanted to understand this a little bit better because I'm coaching a lot of people on how to use their oils, and I want to make sure I'm giving them really good and safe information. And so I thought I'd share with you what I'm finding. This is definitely not a video to convince you of one way or the other, or there's one thing that's right or one thing that's wrong. This is simply sharing information that I'm finding as I try to dig into it. I certainly am not a master of this topic, and I'm just going to continue to try to learn as best I can. So I'm just sharing what I found so far, and I hope that it's helpful. I think the bottom line is there's just not agreement on this topic. If you look to different experts and see what they think, they simply don't agree. I think the good news is that the science and study of essential oils is booming, and we're going to get a lot more information and answers in the time to come. But for right now, we only know what we know. And so typically what I do as essential oil coach is I explain both sides to people and let them make their own decision about what they would like to do, and let them know that if they do not want to ingest essential oils, they absolutely don't have to. They can benefit from breathing them in aromatically or using them topically in their skin. And our team, we're very committed to sharing safety information each and every day and making sure people know how to use them appropriately and in the right amounts, and the fact that more is not better, and to explain how strong these are, and they should be used really mindfully and carefully. But here's what I'm finding about internal use. It looks like most aromatherapists do not recommend internal use of essential oils. And I am not an aromatherapist, and I've not been through aromatherapy training, so I can't comment in detail about that, but it looks like the aromatherapy school of thought is kind of based in some studies that happened in Britain a long while ago, where some low-grade essential oils were used that had some negative outcomes, and that is why they have been trained to tell people not to use essential oils internally. You know, we all know there's a huge difference between a bottle of essential oil that some random company made on the cheap that they picked up from a discount store versus a very high-grade essential oil. They're very different products. Just like, you know, conventional meat is very different than grass-fed, grass-finished meat. I mean, they're just very different. And unfortunately, in this country, it's just not regulated. You know, supplement industry is not regulated, and people can claim basically whatever they want. The labels can be incorrect. And so it's very hard on customers to really know for sure what they're getting. And someone could use essential oil and it's full of pesticides or other contaminants, or it's synthetic, and it's hurting them. And so some people make essential oil recommendations catering to like the lowest common denominator. And since you don't know what brand or quality someone's using, you have to make recommendations that are safe no matter what. Versus people who feel like, you know, they've studied in depth a particular brand of essential oils and feel totally comfortable with the quality of them. And there's no one brand that's top quality. There are several high quality brands. So you have to find the one that you believe in and trust in, and that's a good fit for you. There's network marketing brands and non-network marketing brands. So you've got to find what's right for you, but there are several high quality choices. And you might be able to make recommendations with a caveat that you have to use this oil, this particular brand of oils, because you can be confident of what it is. Whereas you can't speak to a lot of other companies. And if you follow Dr. Pappas on Facebook, he's doing a lot of exposures of different companies who are getting products off Amazon and other places, and then running them through his lab and exposing them for the frauds that they are, which is amazing. But I have done some training under Dr. Josh Axe, and I have done some work for him and gotten to ask him face-to-face his perspective on internal use of oils, and have come to really trust his judgment and his research on them. And so I personally follow his advice in this topic. But you know, you can also look at Dr. Zelinsky and Dr. Tisserand and various people and see for yourself what you think. And they're just not all going to agree. But I choose to follow Dr. X because I know that he's digging into the research all the time. And he doesn't make recommendations based on like personal experience or even client experience. It's about what does the data say? What does the science say? And so when it comes to internal oils, there's no yes or no answer. It very much depends on who's taking it, what quality, which oil, and the age and the health of the person. There are some oils that should never be used internally. There are others that he believes can have therapeutic benefits when used internally. Also, they shouldn't, children and seniors shouldn't be using them. Excuse me. Also, people with compromised livers. This is not particular to essential oils. Your liver has to process the oils you're consuming, your medications, all the environmental toxins coming in. Your liver has a lot of work to do. So if you know that your liver is compromised or diseased or something, you probably don't want to put extra strain on it. And that's not just essential oils. So you have to think about all of the things your liver is trying to process and try to minimize the burden on it. But for an adult with a healthy liver, there may be reasons to consider doing it internally at the appropriate dose. So what sort of drives me crazy is bloggers or on Pinterest, and you see people recommended that people take high amounts of essential oils. I think that can be dangerous. And if someone's deciding whether or not to consume essential oils, it shouldn't be based on someone they don't know and trust. So personally, what I do for myself is only 1 to 3 drops of oil at a time. If it's an oil that's safe for ingestion, 1 to 3 drops, no more than that at a time, no more. Doing that 3 times a day with food. And I prefer to put the oils, excuse me, in a veggie cap. I also sometimes put a drop of frankincense on my finger and rub that on the roof of my mouth. I do have people who are comfortable putting a drop or 2 in water and drinking it down that way. You'll obviously see that's hotly debated. And I always tell them, if you have a sensitive digestive tract, that's probably not a good option for you. But your mucous membranes are very resilient. So I'm not worried about the essential oil touching their mucous membrane very temporarily and being damaged. But again, I'm not an expert in this area. I'm an oil coach, and I'm trying very hard to learn as much as I can every single day. And I did some training at the Essential Oil Institute, and I'm trying to dig into this topic because it's so hotly debated. And there's people who are so passionate on this side and so passionate on this side. And so I really want to know where I stand on it, and I encourage you to do the same. This is a really important topic. And before you recommend people use them internally, you need to do your homework so that you're being very responsible and let it be their decision if they want to use essential oils internally or not. I personally think it's wrong to promote high use of essential oils just to sell more product. And I really don't believe that coaches are doing it for that reason. I think that people who are drawn to coaching about essential oils have really big hearts and are truly trying to help people. So I don't believe it's people just trying to sell more. I mean, a few extra drops is not going to really impact anyone's income very much. So be safe out there, be educated, be aware. When you see something on the internet, take everything with a grain of salt, even this video. No matter who published it or where it came from, think for yourself, know for yourself. Try to consider what the other perspective might be. Don't take it as fact just because it's written up as an article. And even if you see it from a doctor, double check. Where did they get their information from? What are their what are their sources? And if you read an article, a good one should have at the bottom links to their sources of where they got their information from. Follow the links. Check it out. Find who you trust. I found that I trust Dr. X and his perspective and recommendations on oils because I know him. I've met him in person. I trust him. He's super smart and very knowledgeable. So you decide for yourself who you want to follow. And when it comes to internal use of essential oils, a lot's going to change. In maybe even 5 years, we're going to have a lot more information. And certainly in 10 years, 20 years, we're going to have so much more information. But the last point I want to make is if someone is having a very big health challenge and they need to take something, I ask them to look at the risk versus the reward. There tends to be not so much debate about things that can be picked up from the pharmacy. And if someone's struggling with an infection, and they can go down to a local pharmacy and pick something up. I wish we would have more debate about that and what harm is being done when they choose those products. Because we certainly are spending a lot of time debating on what happens when someone chooses to use an essential oil. internally when they have a big health challenge. So what's better? You know, do you want to go down to your pharmacy and get something? Do you want to get a prescription from your doctor? Do you want to use essential oil? Do you want to use herbs? What do you want to do? What are the side effects of those different options? Everyone should be fully informed. For me personally, if I'm having a really big health challenge, I would rather use essential oils than a prescription or a over-the-counter medication if I can. You know, those things certainly have their time and place, but I believe in the therapeutic benefits of using essential oils internally because I'm using the highest quality products. I'm using them in the right amounts, and I know that they're safe for me personally to use because my liver is in fine condition and I'm an adult. So I really hope that's helpful. You know, discuss this amongst your team or your community and be open-minded. This shouldn't be where we beat each other up if we don't agree. Let's just share really good information, not opinions, but information based on sources and science, and just help each other understand rather than fight amongst ourselves. Let's just rise up the entire essential oil industry so we can know more and do better and help people more effectively. I hope that helps.